Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening and welcome to the special focus. It is indeed Wednesday, the 24th of February 2021. Of course, the final episode of the special focus. Coming up on the show this evening, we look at South Africa's visa policy for Palestinians. Did you know that Palestinians are required to apply for visas in order to visit South Africa, whereas it is totally different for Israeli passport holders? This is not a requirement for Israeli passport holders, and that really is the case. So we're going to find out tonight what this means and why calls have been growing for this to change. Before that, though, we are going to be joined by Councillor Fawzia Peer, the former Deputy Mayor of Durban, also known as eThekwini Municipality, for an exclusive one-on-one in which she's going to share her story of how she entered politics and much more, her thoughts on leadership of the country, management and all of the great stuff coming your way on the special focus. Service delivery as well, leadership ethics, and her thoughts on the contribution of women to society. I mean, she herself has quite a bit to her name. She's currently a PR councillor in charge of Ward 31, that's Overport, here in eThekwini Municipality. She's also previously served as the Deputy Mayor of Durban and at some stage the acting Mayor of eThekwini Municipality. So that is going to be a super interesting discussion, which I definitely look forward to. Remember that you can send us your comments via 061 766 That's the one WhatsApp number if you'd like to participate in the conversation. Let me just repeat that: 061 766 Alternatively, you may want to send your comments and questions. You may want to drop them below our Facebook and YouTube live broadcasts. And if you've tuned in via those, and if you've also perhaps joined us via our live stream on salammedia.com/listen-live, thank you so much for tuning in. We will get into this discussion right after this ad break. Please do stay tuned.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Enduran Boys College is an independent boarding and day school situated on the N1 highway in Polokwane. We encourage intellectual and emotional development through a holistic learning environment. We follow the NCS CAPS curriculum and house boys from grade 6 to 12. We have boarding facilities also available from grade 6 to 12. Enduran Colleges aspires towards being a premier institution of learning by offering quality and value-based education that aims to serve humanity. Enduran College is safe haven and a home away from home. It's registered with the Department of Education and Umalusi accredited. For more information, contact us on 078 452 6264. or follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us on polokwane@interimcolleges.co.za.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Welcome back. You are indeed tuned into Salam Media. This is the special focus. My name is Zahid Jadwat, and we are together up until 9 p.m. this evening. Whether you've joined us via our audio stream or via Facebook and YouTube live broadcast, thank you so much for tuning in. We do hope that you enjoy the show. And now we're going to go straight into it. We're going to begin with our first segment. Councillor Fawzia Peer, a strong female leader who has played important roles in eThekwini municipality, having served as the deputy mayor between 2016 and 2019, as well as having served as the acting mayor in 2019. Tonight, she joins us on the special focus to speak about her life, career, and much more. Let me welcome Councillor Peer. Assalamu alaikum, Councillor Fawzia Peer. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Zahid, and the listeners out there. Thank you for having me.
It is indeed a pleasure to host you this evening. So let's begin here. Tell us more about yourself. Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Oh God, you want to know where I was born? I never asked my mom that, but I would think that I was born in Stanger. And yes, I grew up in Stanger as a rural girl. I'm a Kwaduguza, a young girl from there. Well, just to, add on to that, I am now labeled by the ANC as the ANC veteran activist, with a track record of about 25 years in local government. But talking about as a young girl, I must say that I became, acutely aware and also observant of unfairness as a young girl, as I was growing up in Stanger, and also the inequality around me. And because I was an avid reader and also a debater in my teens, I also acted in a number of plays. If those that are from Stanger, they would know that Farooq Asmal and Fawzia Asmal were great actors in all the plays out there. So, I enjoyed using languages to question the status quo. So over the years in politics, I experienced racism, sexism, I must say also cultural and religious prejudice. So, and of course, as you mentioned that I was acting mayor as well for 4 months, I survived more than one attempt on my life when I was acting mayor for the eThekwini municipality. And many challenges in politics. One would think politics is an easy game, but it's not. It's quite a tough terrain that you enter into because, especially if you are with the present party, you have to go by with the caucus decisions. You cannot deviate from there at all. So that makes it sometimes a bit difficult, especially if you have your own set mindset and you want to think your way, but that doesn't really work out. So whilst others were discouraged, I remained steadfast because I was driven fundamentally by service to the community. I always wanted that motto in life is to service the community. So despite, all this, the relative conformity of my earlier years, I must say my political awakening was because of my uncle, the late Professor Cllr Asmal, who was, the Minister of Water and then Education. And I was 12 years old when he left for exile. So I would say that my calling was to serve, to work as a professional labor relations consultant. Now, the degrees and everything that I received was, I would say, after I got married, and a very, very, I would say, progressive husband who allowed me, after 4 children, to go to university, because I felt that I'm not domesticated. I need to pursue my studies. So I'm a graduate, a BA graduate in psychology and sociology. And I also have honors in social science. Now that you're asking me, I hate to talk about myself, but I have to. And I also hold a postgraduate diploma in industrial relations and also labor law. And therefore, my career was a labor consultant by profession. So
Yeah.
that's what my background is. And if I could say that my appreciation for local political and community work became very clear thereafter, and leading me into many years of political engagement, activism, and contribution in local government. You know, many people say that I want to be a councillor, I want to work with grassroots level, but it doesn't come overnight. You have to
Yeah.
be one who has civic pride, who can work with grassroots. I used to sit on the floor in the rural area. There were no chairs. We used to have meetings at that time under a tree in the hot, blazing sun. And that's when the onset of democracy. So I'm a grassroots person, Zahid. And because being a people's person by nature, I genuinely took pleasure in getting to know people always, speaking to those on the ground, understanding their needs, trying to improve life for people on a daily basis. So my shared enthusiasm for, building the post-apartheid ANC structures. Locally, I was elected on the ANC regional executive. And also, I was a treasurer at that time. And thereafter, I climbed up to the ANC provincial executive. So these strong local political structures helped form part of the democratic dispensation that we are now proud of as residents in Durban. It just didn't come by the way. We were all part of it. So one of the
Yeah.
challenges,
So
Zahid,
yeah.
one of the challenges I faced in all this was the divided communities that we live in, and which is a recognized legacy of apartheid. So then I made it my goal to unite communities, unite them wherever possible and throughout the municipality. This probably, originates from my background of industrial relations and conflict resolution, which I have honors in. There were lots of conflicts at that time with the Youth League, and also because we had demarcations of the wards, and people were not happy the way they were divided into different wards. Like a whole chunk of a section was taken into another ward, and they couldn't get over that. So we had to go and do groundwork level of convincing people that you now belong to Ward 31, and you have to go and vote in that voting station, which may be far away, but that is the way the new council was designated to work. So those are some of the things. Yeah. So you want to ask
Yeah.
me? Okay.
I actually have many questions which are lined up here to ask you this evening, but unfortunately we do have time constraints, and I do hope we have longer time, but unfortunately, just time is against us. So you mentioned the 25-year track record of in local government. That's fantastic, and then you also mentioned growing up in Stanger and how that influenced you, and influenced you to take the political career that you did. Was politics always the desire? Was that something you always wanted to get in? And perhaps, okay, I think you did cover that quite a bit extensively in your previous response. But then there's also, you mentioned about people joining politics, and the need for that is, you say it's necessary that they do have civic pride. But unfortunately, it seems, especially here in South Africa, many many it's a sad reality. Many people end up joining politics for their own personal gain. So for yourself, what do you think is the factor that kept you steadfast throughout your career in politics until today?
Well, as I said earlier on, that I always felt that it was important to serve community, and that's what my sole contention in life was, to serve the community. And I focused my energy, as I said, on building communities, unifying them, and become effective in their needs. So, like for instance, when I was the ward councillor, and people knew that I had this grassroots level love, for the people. I wasn't just a person, I would say, cosmetically wanting to do the job, but from inward, from inside me, I had the love for people. Now, at that time, I remember a number of our politicians um, um, didn't like the idea in the leadership level, some of them, that I should stand for the ward that was very diverse in culture, and that was Ward 24, made up of Indian, whites, and blacks, and majority whites, and I would say quarter of Chesterville. And some of them said, no, she won't make it because whites will never vote for her, and so and so. But when I stood for elections, I must say, overwhelmingly, the blacks voted for me, and the whites and the Indians. Very few Indians, though. Our Indians at that time, or Muslims, really never came out to vote. I couldn't understand why. But yet, what I find, Zahid, is that when you get elected, you'll find that our people come running to you, please do this and please do that. And these are very difficult things that they want you to do. But, because it's inside you to help the people, you would do so. But they would never go to vote. Some of them never even registered. I really don't understand why. So, so I won that ward, and I had an office in Chesterville as well as Westville. And mind you, whites came to me in numbers, and also the blacks. I enjoyed being a ward councillor because, you see, you're right, some of them do it for personal gains. Others would do it because you feel that you want to leave a legacy, whereby at the end of the day, someone would say that Fawzia had done something for the community, right? My phone was never off. Every Saturdays, I used to take a whole lot of women in Chesterville, and I used to do walks with them in Chesterville. And yet there were years where Indians couldn't even enter Chesterville, because you would either be hijacked or whatever happens to you there. But I made them understand that's not the way to think. But we are but one. And they understood me. I also managed to get business people together to build a youth center. And if you go to Chesterville now and you see that youth center, and you feel so happy that their youngsters come from school, they've got the internet cafe there. And they also on Saturdays, there's talents on music and what you call, I think, acting and things like that, and also skills development. So it's good to see that you have done something good for the community, at large.
Yeah, we are now in the aftermath of apartheid. It's quite a few years have passed since then, but unfortunately, we still find ourselves grappling with many of the challenges which were caused. One could say were in some way, whether directly or indirectly, caused by the apartheid regime, and the legacy is now playing out and lasting in the democracy that we are. Do you think our leaders are doing enough to address these issues and challenges at present?
Well, it depends. It depends on what, if leaders are chosen. For instance, if they are councillors in wards, and I don't know if you're referring to whether there's racial discrimination and things like that. Well, the type of, sometimes the leaders that we choose or political parties have chosen have no other desire but for themselves. Some of them are so young that on Friday night their phones are off. Whether there's a water pipe burst, or whether there's no electricity, or whether there's something even serious like informal settlements burning, you won't get that counselor. So I would urge that leadership looks at those characters in our future leaders so that they can lead in the best way to help our community. That's important because you get social ills, you get gender-based violence these days, and all sorts of drugs as well. And how do we curb these things? Are leaders supposed to do that, or is it community? That's the question.
Yeah, and of course, one would argue that it takes a collective effort to rebuild a country, coming from the past and the history that we have. And I think one would the next question would be, how do we assess how far we've come since apartheid? Do you think we've come a long way, or are we still perhaps lagging in some way or another?
I think we firstly is fundamentally we can never we can never compare what apartheid was and what we have now. People fought for democracy, for freedom and democracy, and people fought for a non-racial democracy, and people died. The stalwarts had died fighting for that. And I think comparing apartheid legacy to what we are now, I think we are much more freer, and we can do what we want. We can build mosques wherever we want. We do have some challenges in the plans, but eventually it gets done. And the good question is, are they Muslims? I may be the last Muslim in local government. And if I have to retire, and if I don't get back at the next election, who is the Muslim that you are going to put in? Because we have our cemetery problems, which are slightly different from other cemeteries. We have masjids that need attention as far as planning is concerned, and yet we have churches all over, everywhere and anywhere, churches. How they get the plans done is a very good question. But when Muslims put up masjids, there's a whole lot of contention, So if I have to go, who is the next Muslim? I used to often tell our people, even if you have to stand independent in the minority areas, do so. And then what we do is that we want to go and get students that have passed degrees in political science, degrees in other fraternities, but that's not needed. You just need to have the English language properly spoken, and you must be articulate in how you debate in council, and you must be there to assist people when they need you. It's as simple as that. The phone.
Yeah.
When they. So at the end of the day, I think apartheid might have moved away or dissolved. There could be little fragments of apartheid still existing, where you find Afrikaans schools still wanting to be exclusive, or some areas in Cape Town still want to be exclusive. So maybe fragments of apartheid still in the non-changing minds of individuals is still there, unfortunately.
Yes, yes, indeed. Unfortunately, and I think what's important is that we work towards fixing these injustices and rebuilding our society so that it becomes inclusive of all, and inclusive of all who participate and all who belong to this broader South African society. And of course, you are based in Durban, as just as I am, and I'm sure you are quite familiar with the challenges which are prevalent in the eThekwini municipality as well. And having served as the former deputy mayor as well yourself, uh, what sort of challenges do you think the municipality here in Durban faces? Because I think people really are genuinely frustrated when it comes to the service delivery challenges which are faced here. If you look at areas like Isipingo, where service delivery is lacking. In fact, we just got a message a few days ago myself. Somebody was asking if we could please do a feature of the Isipingo area where service delivery seems to have, you know, where service delivery seems to be lacking, with illegal dumps, with verges not being cut, maintained, bushes just being overgrown. And I think people are genuinely upset, and that's how it's coming to our attention. And last week as well, there was a water outage in my area. The councillor came on Salam Media as well, and he said that service delivery in the municipality has fallen flat. And he says there are various challenges. So what do you make of these challenges in the municipality?
Zahid, I would agree with you that we do have some very strong challenges. And I think it was, this was augmented with, or compounded with the lockdown and COVID, because many of our staff suffered with COVID and they had to stay, be home. One such example I would give you was with DSW, picking up garbage bags. And also previously they used to get overtime, and the overtimes had stopped because we don't have enough money. So that got them very angry as well as to why the overtimes have stopped. So once that happens, the strike comes on, the bins are all littered all over. But, all in all, I would say that in a municipality, if we as community, if we don't take them to task, nothing will really happen. If we sit back and we think that, councillors will do some work for us, that too will never happen. We have to take it upon ourselves. When I was deputy mayor, I had spoken to, I would say 90% of the councillors, that you must have your own service delivery group and make sure that your entire ward residents, if possible, to put them on. So whenever there's an outage or a water pipe bursting, so you are, on the you are there to help the community. You are the first person to assist them. But somehow some councillors didn't bother. Yes, Isipingo, I would say that I haven't seen it lately, but I must say when I was the deputy mayor, I did a walk around, and it was bad with the trucks parking all over, huge trucks, and there was so much of disorderliness in the streets. I don't know if the construction has been finished by now, because that also compounded the problem. And, maybe, and much against my party, I would say strong ratepayers organizations will have to emerge, because that's the only answer to this. Once our people start forming ratepayers organizations and we talk with one voice, I'm telling you, this will give them a nice beating. Because sometimes politicians would go on, sending emails to officials, and officials would either want to do the work or not do the work. It depends. Some of them we get messages that, if a pipe, if there's a burst pipe and water is gushing out, and when a plumber goes there, first and foremost, the company sits down, reads the paper, waits for another 20 minutes or a half an hour, whilst we as residents get so edgy. We want the water to be connected or the power to be restored, you see. So those are definite challenges. I agree with you, because I've got the service delivery group and I know how difficult it is. And one of the requirements, fundamental requirements that they all want, which they are lazy at the call center, they want reference numbers. If you have a pipe that is burst or the electricity is gone, immediately phone the call center and ask for a reference number. So with that reference number, they would know exactly what time the water really stopped or the electricity went off. And further to that, if light poles is a real sore point at the moment, because we have a huge backlog, a very huge backlog. We put companies on to do the restoration, but somehow I don't think they were up to standard, from what I'm personally speaking. And then we want residents to give us the poll numbers. So if you give us the poll number and the reference, it shouldn't take time for us to get it done. But that too takes time, I must say.
And Councillor, it's interesting that you mentioned the issue of light poles as well. And as a resident of Durban, I'm quite aware. Light poles across the city, it's a citywide problem, and just as our councillors are telling us as well, it is a citywide problem. However, I think challenges that residents do confront when reporting these matters is that the call center is either backlogged, so it takes a really long time until we can get through to an agent, to speak to an agent to actually make that report. The WhatsApp line is, I see lately, has been really slow in response, and we report water outages and only get a response perhaps after the water has been restored. And I think there are some serious issues within the municipality, and that really need urgent attention. I have myself reported streetlights. Just this one thing that's a really serious issue here as well is streetlights, and I have reported streetlights for years. Nothing has been done, and it's really sad. And I think there is some serious urgent action that needs to be taken on the part of the municipality itself. But there's a comment here on Facebook from one of the viewers, Afzal Nur Mohammed, who says, "Our society will never progress under corrupt ANC rule. They are self-serving, putting party cadres before our nation and its citizens." As a member of the African National Congress, Councillor Peer, what's your response to this?
Well, basically, I can't run my party down. And then second to that is, one doesn't have a choice, in the sense that we can go on saying that the ANC is a bad choice. But at the end of the day, there isn't another black party that can compete with the ANC. So ANC will still emerge, because if you look at the huge rural areas and the township areas, all the councillors in those areas, more than about 60 to 80 councillors, will win again. So what we have to do, and I say it again, that in the minority areas, if we all stood as independents in the minority areas, you would have scored. Because if all the independents get together, they will have a voice in council. That's one way of looking at it. Second is, I strongly believe there should be ratepayers organizations, and then bring the mayor to task to say, listen, we want to have a meeting with you. It's the Bingo Ratepayers Association would like to have a meeting with you. These are our fundamental problems, and I want you to sort them out. We're giving you 10 days to 20 days. We're going to come back to you. So those are the things that participation in the community is vital, and it's missing, and especially amongst our Muslims, because we never really participated previously. We always either We have a pal in government, give a few bobs to him, some biryani or something, and we get things done. But sooner or later, that's going to stop. And we're going to end up with no one listening to us because we get new stuff all the time. So we need to now strengthen ourselves in order to face the consequences or do something about it.
And I think the ruling party itself has got some introspection to do, because there has been a decline in support, as we've seen in previous elections, and I think many citizens are, of course, there is the participation factor where many people who registered to vote as well didn't actually turn up. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch the political sphere of the country in coming years, especially this year. There will be another local government election, and before I get to, we've just got, I think, 4 minutes remaining of this discussion. Unfortunately, time does fly. And before I get to you, just your thoughts on what lies ahead for the country. What do you think your role as a Muslim female politician, having served as the deputy mayor, the former acting mayor as well? What role do you think you have to play for the community as a woman? And yeah.
I think as a woman, and I'm going to stress on women. So in spite of working hard in local government, to uplift the lives of many, I still feel that one has to advance women's rights. That is very important. The quality of lives of women, I must say, are a marker of success for any society. And knowing that Black women suffer the triple oppression. So I always believed in addressing this factor, the gender-based violence, the drug issue, the crime issue as well. So as a Muslim woman, I would just say, as a woman, I believe that we need to sort these things out. The lives of women in the forefront. If women are chosen in local government, you will find that there will be a huge difference, because they tend to have a strong multiplier effect on the wider community. And they also never fail to have a chain reaction, So one thing for sure, when you put a woman, she contributes towards social development. And that's what I have, and I would want to do if I have to come back again. So, and more than our gender counterparts, sorry to say that, because it is the first nature with women to care and also to nurture. So this being a natural makeup of women, so we tend to participate more in society. I'm sure you'll agree with us. So we've got a style of going to people, to encourage them, to speak to them, and to be there for them at all levels, whenever possible. And I would love to do that. And even, Zahid, if I don't get back into local government, I'm sure you must have heard of the Muslim Relief Alliance that I have launched. And the reason for that was because at the time of the lockdown, I found that many of our NGOs were duplicating food hampers. And it killed me to see that. So when I launched this, I said, this is a collaborative effort in order to fight that whole duplication of food hampers, and to make sure that every needy person gets the food hampers in time.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having me. I hope you enjoyed me.
Yeah, if I could just squeeze a quick comment here from an anonymous listener who says, please ask the councillor what she has to say about former mayor Zandile Gumede, the mayor who was removed from office over corruption allegations. She was there alongside Mayor Gumede. What does she have to say? Councillor, your response?
Well, I must say that is not a very good question for me to answer. I can't say anything. We had a very good professional relationship, both of us. But I can't say any more on that. I hope she's peaceful and she's happy.
Okay, cool. And the final question before I let you go, where do you see yourself in time to come? Are you back in local government elections, or are you giving it a
Yeah.
break for now.
You see, like Ace Magoshule said, it depends on the branches. So if the branches put me on again, and if they think that I still have a 5-year term, they would do so. But if they don't want to put me back again, I'm okay. As I said, I am now going to be fully on relief services and just help the people, the needy. And my greatest ambition is to have a huge soup kitchen and just give soup out to all the poor people on the road. Thank
Indeed,
you very
and
much.
we do hope, yeah, I do wish you all the best and hope that it does bear real results and, of course, for a positive change for the broader community. The Muslim Relief Alliance, something I also wanted to touch on in this discussion, but like I said, we hardly have that much time. And that also, I must say, some spectacular work was being done during the lockdown, and I do hope it continues in the near future and the long term as well. But thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, Zahid. I enjoyed every moment of it. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Councillor Fawzia Peer, the former Deputy Mayor of Durban eThekwini Municipality, and she also served at some stage as the Acting Mayor of eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality, speaking to us about her life, her career, and her plans for time to come. I must say it was a really interesting discussion, and I did enjoy it as well. But we're going to take an ad break now, and when we get back, we get into the next segment of the show, where we will be discussing South Africa's policy, the visa policy towards Palestinian passport holders. Please do stay tuned.